Hi, welcome to the Coalition for Life Webcast. My name is Brian Niehaus, Director of Client Outreach. We'll see you in 20 minutes live.
Hi, I'm Mayor Unerstall. I'm a business assistant here at Coalition for Life St. Louis, and we are coming live to you in 15 minutes, so stay tuned.
be coming to you live in 5 minutes from the St. Louis area. Hi, my name's Ashlyn, and I'm one of the many Life Choice Associates working to end abortion here in the St. Louis area. We thank you so much for joining us, and don't forget to share this on your YouTube and Facebook.
Hey guys, we're live with the Living Pro-Life Webcast in 60 seconds. My name is Caitlin Roberson, and I am the Director of Business and Administration. How can you help end abortion today? Like, follow, and comment below, and spread the love.
Facebook Live as well. So the Facebook Live is there. And so if you want to make any comments there on the Facebook Live, go ahead and make them down here. Very excited for the Facebook Live as well. If you want to share this, go ahead and click share. And we will go ahead and share that as well with your friends and family. So welcome again, everyone, to the Living Pro-Life Webcast. We are so blessed and honored that all of you are here today. So as we move through this important opportunity, I just want to thank everyone who has joined together to make this a reality today. So number one, thank our audio and our visual crew and everyone who's working diligently behind the scenes to make this a reality. Just want to thank them for all of their effort, time, and energy. So that's number one. And also wanted to thank all of you for being on the webcast as well. So tonight we're going to have several different things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the stunning results that God has accomplished over the last year, despite the new attacks on our ministries, despite a pandemic and shutdowns on our country, and so many victories that we have seen right here in our ministry and through our ministry over the last 12 months. You'll also be able to hear success stories and testimonies of our own staff members and many people who are on the front lines who are literally giving women the courage to choose life every single day. You will meet a child who you saved, who through your prayers, through your faithfulness, through your efforts, you have had an opportunity to be part of a story to save a child's life. You'll also hear testimonies of local leaders, students, and a pro-life team who work diligently to save lives every single day. You will hear about the unprecedented opportunities. You'll have 2 new opportunities for the growth of the Coalition for Life programs. You'll have those 2 new opportunities tonight, and it will make a critical moment where over the next 12 months, we can save even more lives. You've made this possible, and tonight we're going to move forward with so many different challenges that our country is facing, both in Missouri and Illinois, but yes, also across our nation. So our first guest today is going to be Mr. Sam Lee. So let's take a look, Sam, and let's see about getting you on the stream, just as he is having a hard time. So let's see.
I'm here, Brian, but can you see me?
We love technology. Absolutely. So Sam, let's see if he is on.
I'm on. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Fantastic opportunity here, but Sam is not quite on our live stream. Can we hear you, Sam?
I can hear you.
Hey, I can hear you. We can't quite see you, but I can hear you.
For whatever reason, I'm at the state capitol.
Monica, come on. So while Sam's not quite on here, we're going to go ahead and bring Monica Shannon on. And Monica is incredible. We'll wait for Sam to get back on. Don't we love technology? Oh, yeah. Monica, all right. So, Monica, you are incredible. Thank you for being on the program. We're having a great time with all the technology, aren't we?
Yeah, it's a privilege to be here. Thank you for asking me.
So, Monica, you have done so much here for Southern Illinois with the Southern Illinois District of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. And so, welcome. And I know that there's a lot of great things that we're doing here in Southern Illinois, and the Fairview Heights abortion facility just got dropped smack dab in the middle of everything going on here. And so tell us, I know you've got some good news. So tell us, share that good news for us and how we can get involved.
So we praise God. We thank God for raising up people to contact our legislatures by witness slips as well as calls, phone calls, snail mail, and down the line, not just the district, all the way up to Chicago, telling our legislators we will not stand for a law that takes protections away from a child mother and the child of the mother. In this state, you have to have permission to get a tattoo. You have to have permission to sit in a tanning bed, but you don't have to have notification of an abortion. So we're protecting these girls from being sex trafficked, from date rape, pedophiles, and we let our legislators know we were not going to stand for it. And the good news, Brian, is today those bills have been put back into rules, which basically means they're not going anywhere.
Oh, fantastic.
So we celebrate that. We also celebrate that there was a mandated sex education bill, and that was also kicked back to rules. So we're watching them. The church is rising up, and people are getting involved. And those are the little things. It doesn't take much to send an email, make a phone call, and let your legislature know in this state. As we know, this state is pretty heinous when it comes to abortion laws. So we are celebrating that good news.
Yeah.
Praise God today.
Yeah, they could have done anything. But they decided to push it back. And at least for a moment, that's a great victory.
Right.
And so what's the next thing that a person can do? Obviously, laws are important, and we need to affect change with regards to laws. But what's maybe a small thing that someone can do?
I would tell you, this is this way for me. I didn't know how to get started. If it weren't for Coalition being out here and taking on Planned Parenthood, I wouldn't know what to do. I came out to the fence. I came here, and that's where I met people who were really sleeves rolled up in pro-life activity. And so it's so easy. Just come out to the fence and pray. And you may make connections that are going to cause you to get involved in maybe greater or bigger things. But don't discount prayer, right?
Absolutely.
You come out. So that is really important. And again, contacting your legislature is another thing. Support pregnancy care centers is another thing you could do. But, as Christians, Brian, we are called to love and serve our neighbor, to advocate for life, because Christ has called us to do that. And so if you begin your day with prayer, it won't be very hard to see who your neighbor is, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So we can support these mothers. We can do a diaper drive, simple things. Our youth groups could raise money. Talk to your pastors and get them on board. Get your church members on board. Talk it up. Just get started in simple ways, and you'll be surprised what a big thing God can do when you step out and trust Him.
Absolutely. So one last question. Obviously, Planned Parenthood kind of dropped Fairview Heights, Planned Parenthood right in our midst. Yeah. And so what were the feelings that you had when that happened?
Well, Brian, I was taken out publicly in an exercise class at the YMCA, and I was told I was a fool for being pro-life by an exercise instructor.
Wow.
So I'm in the locker room. She follows me in there and continues to berate me. So when I left there, I was pretty much like, I say I'm pro-life, but do I do pro-life? And then my brother and his company thought they were working on a medical office building, and they fire sprinkled this building across the street. And when I heard that, they were devastated. And when I heard that, it was like, okay, Lord, these are moves of you in my heart. So how do I get started? And we kept back to you guys and some other great people that are working in the pro-life arena. We now have an Advocates for Life team in the Southern Illinois District.
Fantastic.
So yeah, so it's one of those things that it doesn't have to be big, and that's what we're trying to do with people. We're saying, sign up for the March of the Arch, sign up for 40 Days for Life, and get started. And I really believe the Lord will lead people to other things.
Fantastic. Thank you for being with us, Monica.
Thank you. Lord bless you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your ministry.
Absolutely. And so we're going to turn our attention. We're going to see if we can get Sam Lee. Sam can join us.
Brian, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Sam.
All right, sorry. For some reason, the video's not working. I'm up in Jefferson City at the state capitol. They just finished a little while ago, and they're coming back on Monday. So we have a busy couple weeks ahead of us trying to get some more pro-life legislation passed.
Fantastic, Sam. So before the connection drops on you, give me a summary of what's happening in Missouri and the Missouri legislature.
Well, right now we're doing a couple things. One, we're trying to defund Planned Parenthood. We've been doing it in budget bills for the last 3 or 4 years, but the Missouri Supreme Court prohibited lawmakers from doing it in budget bills. So we're trying to pass a statute that once for all would prevent Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers from getting any of our taxpayer dollars. So that's one thing. Secondly, there's annual appropriations going on. So we're trying to get full funding for alternatives to abortion services. That's about $6.46 million. And thirdly, we've already passed a couple pro-life bills and sent them to the governor that deal with foster care and adoption, as well as tax credits for donors to our pro-life maternity homes. The governor signed those bills last Thursday, and they'll go into effect later this year.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sam. So what would you say? I know you've been in the pro-life movement for a very, very long time. And last year, I believe, on record, there were 39 abortions in Missouri. So tell me about what is happening from 20, 30 years ago to now. What's happened?
Yeah, well, good question. I've been lobbying full time for pro-life in the state capitol this is my 36th year. And, if there's been lots of laws that have passed, but I'll break it down to the 2 or 3 most important. And first of all, about 7 years ago, we revised our waiting period and informed consent law and required that before one can have an abortion, she has to wait 72 hours after she meets with the abortion clinic personnel before she can have that abortion. And during that meeting, she's supposed to be given information on alternatives to abortion, risks of abortion. She's supposed to be given a pamphlet, a booklet on fetal development. And since that passed, it has been very successful in getting women to reflect for that 3 days or longer and consider her other options. And we know that the numbers have plummeted since those laws went into effect, and has made it much harder for the abortionists who want to do abortions very quickly. They don't want to give women time to think about it or to look at her options. That's really stymied their efforts. So that is one of the key laws over the decades that have passed. And in addition, what we did a few years after that is we said, she needs to see the doctor who's going to do the abortion 3 days in advance, and not just some volunteer or just some social worker or whatever. And so this has stopped these abortion doctors from driving from one clinic to the other and doing what I call assembly line abortions, where she never sees the patient till right beforehand. And this has stopped abortions in other parts of the state. As you know, Brian, there's just one clinic now, whereas 30 years ago, there were a dozen or more abortion clinics operating in Missouri. And whereas last year there was, maybe 50 abortions I've seen in a recent report, 39 up until November. Back in the 80s, there were 20,000 a year going on with 12 plus clinics. So it's been a huge change, in part because of the laws, but certainly because of prayers and activism and just all the efforts in the pro-life movement. So that's one of the key laws that has passed over the years.
So really quickly before we move on, what's a message to our friends over in Illinois and across the nation that maybe some lessons we've learned in Missouri that we should be looking at across our nation?
Perseverance. I mean, you cannot give up. I've been doing this for 36 years, and there have been a lot of dry spells where we could get nothing done, but you just got to keep at it, keep working with lawmakers, be creative. See what the needs are of the women who are considering abortion, as well as the needs of the pro-life community, specifically our pregnancy centers and maternity homes and other agencies like yours that provide alternatives to abortion. And Missouri has been in the forefront of making sure that your donors and donors to Missouri's 74 pregnancy centers and 19 maternity homes get some tax benefit for their donations. And this increases donations, increases the ability of these agencies to reach out to women, to provide the services they need. So I would say just perseverance and try everything you can to try to pass any sort of pro-life law.
Fantastic, Sam. I know we've been longtime friends, and one of the first people I called when I was going to start the Coalition for Life many years ago. and ever since, you've really been a mentor to me, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate your work in Jefferson City.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for having me on.
Well, the next thing we're going to talk about is the critically important 40 days for life. So 40 days of prayer and fasting, peaceful vigil, grassroots community outreach right here in our local community. We've, since 2009, had 28 40 Days for Life campaign. We've had 47,517 hours of prayer right there in front of the abortion facilities, both in Fairview Heights and also in St. Louis, for a grand total of 12,771 volunteers. These are people who, left their houses, got off their couches, and came out and prayed for an end to abortion right in our local community. 40 days of prayer and fasting, peaceful vigil, and grassroots community outreach. This is critical, and this is why we do what we do. And so through that, we have seen so many individuals been impacted, and we have also grown into the March on the Arch. And the March on the Arch is another new program that we have right here in St. Louis. It's a couple of years old, and it's yet another opportunity, an outreach opportunity for everyone to get involved. And I had an opportunity to catch up with Mary Bozer from Maryville University just a few days ago, and I wanted to share a quick little video that Mary and I did for you right now. Welcome, Mary, to the program, and thanks for having just a few moments to sit down with us today. So tell us just a little bit about yourself, Mary. What got you involved with the Coalition for Life, and what gets you involved in the pro-life movement?
So I am the president of Saints for Life out at Maryville University, which is a branch of Students for Life. And so I'm affiliated with the Coalition for Life in the way that I attended March on the Arch this past spring of 2021 in March.
So you brought some other friends and other individuals with you to March on the Arch?
Yeah, so our club is still pretty small, but I was able to have the opportunity to bring a bunch of other Students for Life who I am also friends with to come and, be like a nice little culture of life of young students having showing what we believe in and showing that it's important to stand up for life. So
you're with Maryville Students for Life, or I suppose there's another group. What did you call it again?
So we are with Saints for Life at Maryville is our chapter of Students for Life. Wonderful. And then I'm also involved with Pro-Life Future, which is the club that you go on to after you graduate from Students for Life. So it's a way to continue to be involved with the pro-life movement after you graduate from a university where you're considered a student.
So what could you say for the students who are listening today? If they're trying to get involved, if they're trying to make a difference in their local community, what could you say for them?
I just want to say that really there's a lot of people our age who don't understand the reality of abortion, and many of them don't think too deeply about it. So by being a presence, we're making a space for students to really think more about the issue at hand and maybe understand what that reality is. So it's super important to have conversations with other people, even if those conversations are a little scary to have at first. So something that our group does specifically is we host a tabling event to have conversations with other students on campus. And these conversations bring a new light to being pro-life that many students haven't really ever given a thought to before. And so in that way, we can really change hearts and minds, and people can contemplate the conversation we had. And that's the first step to really creating change.
So what can you say specifically for where we are in our nation today? Because we have a new administration in Washington, D.C., and there's not a lot of good quality politicians at the Washington, D.C. level who are really trying to shape the culture in a different direction. So what can we do without the support that we have or may have and had in Washington, D.C. at one point? Now, what do we do here at the local level?
I think it's super important to continue having public gatherings like the March on the Arch, because it reminds us of the amount of support that we have with each other in the pro-life movement. And with our numbers, we can make change. And having that community of support beside us rejuvenates our desire to continue fighting on and being change makers at this local level. We can see how we're making a difference as both a group and individually. And whenever we come out in large numbers to public spaces like that, we're making a statement to others and maybe causing them to wonder why we are so passionate about the issue and causing them to think a little deeper for themselves. So hopefully they can see our side of things and maybe agree with us.
So what's one of the hardest things that you've seen, or the most difficult things you've seen in the pro-life movement, or the most difficult thing, when I'm trying to invite someone into the pro-life movement, what's holding them back from getting into the pro-life movement?
I feel like the most popular answer would be that people are afraid of conflict. But whenever you dig a little deeper and you start to realize what's at stake, being that there's more than one life involved in the decision of abortion, you realize how crucial and how critical the issue really is to fight for those who are voiceless. So
what about those who are, maybe in our parents or our grandparents' generation who say, well, I'm getting up on years. I know that you're obviously representing the younger generation here, but what can you say for those who are maybe getting up in years and they're kind of tired and they want to give up? What can you say for them?
Do not give up the fight. As a young person involved in the pro-life movement, I cannot begin to convey the amount of hope that I have for our future. We just need people to continue staying involved and staying strong, because although you may not always see everybody who's involved, there are so many people who are passionately pro-life that are my age, because I routinely have conversations with them, and their dedication to changing hearts and minds is very inspiring. Like, for example, I've seen clubs of college students that have given up their Saturday to drive 2 to 3 hours to come stand outside the last remaining abortion clinic in St. Louis. And on a day that it was 33 degrees, raining and windy, we had the biggest turnout yet from our club on a sidewalk day at Planned Parenthood. We even had a student on crutches with a broken leg who insisted on coming out to be a presence to make a difference. And for example, like, that was a Saturday, Planned Parenthood's most typical busy day, and nobody showed up. And with leaders like this, I have a confidence that our future within the pro-life movement is bright. We are the pro-life generation, and we are unstoppable.
Well, thank you very much, Mary. You're incredible. Keep it up there in Maryville, and continue to fight the good fight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you to Mary and for all the things that she had done to be on camera with me earlier this week. Really, really appreciate her helping us with that. And also all of the amazing things that she has done to bring students out to the side. Team.
Well, why are you mad? And he was like, because she's gonna kill my baby. And he was like, well, it's her body, so it's her choice. I don't have any say in the matter. And I was like, sir, like, yes, you do. You know, you as the father of this child, you have an obligation and the right to protect this child's life.
Hello and welcome to Living Pro-Life. I'm Brian Westbrook and I'm so blessed and honored to have Kelly and Bella here today, a sidewalk counseling mother-daughter duo who are saving lives right in front of the local Planned Parenthood abortion facility. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us.
So Bella, tell me about the best thing that happened to you on the sidewalk in front of this abortion facility.
This was like a couple of weeks ago, I think. I was out on the sidewalk and this couple, they came in through the back gate and he dropped her off to go in for her appointment, and then he came out the front and because I hadn't talked to him yet, so I went up to him and he was visibly upset. So I was like, "Hi, sir, what are you here for today?" And he was like, "Well, I'm mad." And I was like, well, why are you mad? And he was like, "Because she's gonna kill my baby." And so I was like, "Well, sir, I understand why you're upset about this. This is something to get upset about." So I was just talking to him, and he was like, "Well, it's her body, so it's her choice. I don't have any say in the matter." And I was like, "Sir, yes, you do. You as the father of this child, you have an obligation and the right to protect this child's life." And we were talking for a little bit, and he was like, "You're right. I need to go and talk to her." And I was like, "Sir, there's so many other resources. If you guys need financial help or just any type of resources, we have so many free resources for you." And he was like, "Okay." So I was assuming that he was going to go back into the parking lot, but then he just starts calling her on the phone, in the driveway of Planned Parenthood. There's actually an escort that day, so she's behind the car. She's already knocked on the window saying "Sir, don't talk to them," and he's like, "Go away." And so she's standing there, and he calls her and he puts her on speaker and he goes, "Here, you talk to her." And so
Wow.
I'm just standing outside of Planned Parenthood, and there's this lady who's waiting for her abortion appointment, and she's inside of Planned Parenthood, and I'm just talking to her on the phone, and I was like, "Ma'am, I'm the girl, I'm outside of the gate, I'm in an orange vest," and I was like, "Are you her boyfriend, fiance?" And he was like, "I'm her fiance." And I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Your fiance, he's very upset about this abortion." And I was like, "We can get you some counseling to go over all of your options with you, and we can get you a free ultrasound and everything." And she was like, "I don't want any of that. I just want to talk to him." And I was like, "Okay." And so then she hangs up the phone on him, and he was like, "Well, I'm just so mad, I'm just gonna leave." And I was like, "Okay, well, I don't think that's the best, but okay." So he leaves. And then 2 minutes go by, and as he was pulling out of the driveway, she was coming out and she was yelling at him to stop. Wow. But he was too far down the road at that point. And so she's just standing out there, and I was like, "Ma'am, I'm the girl who just talked to you. If you would just come down here, I'd love to talk to you and tell you all of your different options." And she's like, "I don't want to talk to you." And so she ends up calling him, and he comes back. And she gets in the car with him, and they're sitting in the parking lot, and we're all just praying. And as he was coming back through the gates, he did tell me that he was gonna have her talk to me, and I was like, "Okay." So I was getting all prepared, and then they were just sitting in the parking lot, and we were all just praying, and there were some 40 Days for Life people, and they kind of saw what was going on, so they were praying. And then I see her take off her mask, and I was like, "Oh, that's a good sign. She can't go inside without her mask on." And so then I see her put her seatbelt on, and I was like, "Oh, that's a really good sign." And then he starts driving towards the gate, and as he's coming out, he stops and he rolls down the window, and I'm trying to talk to her, and she's yelling at me. She's like, "I don't want to talk to you. I don't want any of it." And so they end up driving away. But I wasn't able to have a good conversation with her, and I wasn't able to connect her with any free resources because she didn't really want them. But it was still just really neat to see how God really lit a fire under this guy to actually, want to protect his child and actually act on that. And so that was a really neat story to witness and be a part of.
Thank you so much for being on the program. I appreciate it, and thanks for all your work.
Thank you.
day in and day out, every single hour in front of that abortion facility. The simple things, a drink of water, an opportunity to go to the bathroom, a cookie, a hot chocolate, something like that. And we are so blessed in St. Louis to have an opportunity to have a convent nearby. The Archdiocese of St. Louis had purchased the home right next to the abortion facility in St. Louis, Missouri. And so that's been a really important thing for us, and we thank them for their support and the Archdiocese's work to save lives. And so when we came to Fairview Heights, we looked right next door. And right here in Fairview Heights, we are sitting in a shell of a building, but we had an opportunity to lease the building right next door to Planned Parenthood. And then there's this path. Every day we go from the St. Louis or the Fairview Heights location, and then we go to the abortion facility every single day. And so that nearby location is critical. And that nearby location allows us to have full support for those men and women and our sidewalk counselors right there at the abortion facility. One of the groups I want to thank, actually two groups, we want to thank our local pregnancy centers, specifically Mosaic Pregnancy Center over here in Illinois. And we also want to thank Thrive and Birthright, South County Pregnancy Center, Our Lady's Inn. You know, the list goes on and on of all of these amazing ministries who are serving these clients as we meet them right at the abortion facility. And so it's very important that as we're next to these abortion facilities, we have a home base. And so I would actually, at this point, I actually want to turn the camera, and I'm going to ask Colleen here if she could just kind of pan around here. And remember last year, we had this space, and there I am, now I'm being panned around here. And we just want to look at this space right here in Fairview Heights. And I wanted to give a shout out to Maggie. And George, if you could walk over there and have a chance to talk to Maggie for just a moment. Maggie, come on and tell us what's happening here in the Fairview Heights Coalition for Life Pro-Life Community Center.
All right. Hi, Brian. Hi, everybody. How you doing tonight? Let's step this way a little bit. Like Brian said, I'm Maggie Tebow. Normally, I'm your director of community events. No, I'm not. Normally, I'm your director of community relations, and tonight, I'm your tour guide. Maybe you've seen my face on an email or two. Maybe we've talked on the phone. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight and coming with me. George is going to show you a little bit. He's going to move this way. We have a very modest space here in terms of square footage, but every inch of this space is dedicated to saving lives. That is what this space is for. So first and foremost, for our sidewalk counselors, the crucial supplies that they need day after day, hour after hour, as they meet and provide that last chance, that last glimmer of hope for a woman going in to have an abortion and the life that she carries inside her. So that's our first and foremost purpose here. But in addition to that are these little creature comforts. Here we've got a little kitchenette. You can get a hot drink, a cold drink. George, you've been moving around a lot. Go ahead, grab a bottle of water if you need it. You can also get a hot paper, hot off the presses there. We've got a copier in here. It's all about those little practical things. But if you've been out there at those gates, at that fence on a cold winter day, nothing hits the spot better than a nice hot cup of coffee. And so that's here for you. This public space now that George has just walked you through, all of the furniture here is meant to be moved around. It is modular so that this space, the pro-life community center, is for you, the pro-life community, to use. And so all of our tables break apart and go together. We rearrange the furniture for groups that want to come in, Bible studies, youth groups, your life team, your various women's clubs. come in, have a pro-life movie night here, a meeting, a training, any of those things. This is your space. As you can tell tonight, we've got it configured a little differently for some living pro-life webcast thing that Brian's got going. Hi, Brian.
Hello.
And then right behind you, we've got a series of just a couple of offices. We don't need a lot of space to work in, but it is an amazing gift to have a sidewalk counselor come in, and after spending some time in reflection and working on their sidewalk counseling, they can get right to the work, the behind the scene work that continues and moving our mission forward to save lives. So I've saved my favorite spot in the Pro-Life Community Center for last. George, why don't you move right ahead in here and show everyone the prayer room. This is the crown jewel of the Pro-Life Community Center. It is a spot where no matter how tough the shift, no matter what the weather, everyone is welcome to come on in and take a few minutes. Remember that Christ won the victory first, no matter how tough it is out there. So you can see right through this window, there is Planned Parenthood, 132 feet from this corner of the building. This modest, empty shell of an office space that Brian first sat in 12 months ago. There is the mobile unit with ultrasound capability that Mosaic uses to save lives every day. And you, my friends, I'd like you to invite someone to come join you. Sometimes it's intimidating to be asked to go out to the fence, but you can invite someone to maybe sit in this prayer room while you go out to the fence. Let them have that first visit here, and then they'll see it's not so scary. And it might just change their life, in addition to saving the lives of someone else. Thank you guys so much for coming tonight. I just want to remind you, 12 months ago, we made 2 promises. First, Brian sat there and he promised a pro-life community center. And despite every challenge that we faced last year, welcome. We're open. We'd love to see you. Give me a call, send me an email. Let's get you and your group in here to spend some time and help save some lives. The second promise that Brian made was about ultrasound. We were going to have a live ultrasound program for women in need. And that too is up and running. So right now, we're just gonna hop over and look behind the scenes because that program is based in our St. Louis headquarters. And so right now, we're just gonna take a little peek at what goes on behind the scenes in Women's Care Connect.
Well, that ultrasound program is so critically important. Being out there for the women as they come in to our facility in St. Louis. We have done 76 ultrasounds with this new ultrasound machine. We also want to thank the Knights of Columbus of Holy Infant because they did so much work to make that possible. That ultrasound machine has done so much and has been able to save lives of children because we now have an ultrasound machine in the St. Louis office. In fact, we're serving now 105 pregnant women through the Women's Care Connect program. That ultrasound machine, along with all of the coaching that is being done, the pregnancy testing, the Google advertising that's taking place, This is really important to be able to save even more lives. So I wanted to introduce my next guest, and you see a couple of images there on the screen. A little baby inside the womb and then another outside the womb. And I wanted to join us, Miss Corey Nations. Welcome, Corey. We'll get you on the camera here in just a minute.
Oh, that's okay.
Don't we love technology? But Corey, the photo that we're looking at today, tell us this story. Tell us about as you meet children, and tell us, I know that this is a unique story, but tell me just the story of all the children that you meet.
Well, usually when a mom comes to me, they're kind of stressed, getting baby ready for photos, and they're doing all this stuff. And I get them to slow down a minute and kind of snuggle their baby, enjoy their baby, and we do photos with them. And really the whole goal is to photograph a moment. So then when they see those photos later in print, they remember that moment, not a pose, not something fake or artificial. We want them to see and go, oh, I remember smelling my baby and what they smell like, and all of that sweet, sweet stuff that I just love.
So I know that you started taking photographs for us a couple of years ago, and tell me that story. How did we first get connected?
Well, it was kind of crazy. I just had our fourth kiddo, and I was just learning how to run a fish fry in our parish, and someone from Women's Care Connect, in the middle of all the crazy making coleslaw and all that, said, hey, you want to take baby photos? And I was like, yes. Okay, I gotta go. And that was it, and here we are.
And then here we are, and I know that you also had a lot to do with the Pro-Life Community Center here, and got it all designed and helped us get all of our furniture in. So we want to thank you for that.
Sure. I wish my house looked this good.
I know. But so tell us about how media affects our culture. I know that you take a lot of time to make sure that the physical prints and the photographs tell a story. And so I know Planned Parenthood and everyone on the other side seems to use media really well, but tell us how important it is to use media.
Oh, it's hugely important because we're all scrolling on our phones, right? Like we just keep scrolling and scrolling, and the thing that makes you stop is a photo. And to be able to see a baby's, like the soul in their eyes, I think is hugely important for our mission here.
So we actually wanted to, in just a moment, share some of the pictures that you've taken. But tell me about your husband and you as you live your pro-life life. I think you've got like 3, 4, 10. How many kids do you have?
We're expecting our 7th.
Oh, fantastic!
Yes. So we're very excited about that. Hey, kids, just so you know, we're expecting our 7th. But no, my husband and I really try to live a pro-life life. My husband is a physical therapist, and he works a lot with elderly people, and we're always praying for his patients. But my kids, since I'm home a lot, actually get to see me editing the photos of the children that I photograph. And so they ask questions and they want to know about their stories. And so they actually love the fact that I get to hold a baby that almost wasn't, that I get to photograph their smile, I get to snuggle them, and they love that. And so they rally around this whole mission with me.
So I got to ask you a question just about your vehicle. So, so tell me, you kind of beat me to this fun vehicle.
Yeah,
tell me about it. So,
well, I'm short, so I need a big car, right? It's short person syndrome. But no, it's a 12-passenger van, and it says, I used to be cool on the back. So if you see me speeding, it was my husband.
Of course, of course. So you beat me to it. I was a couple of months behind you. We got our big, van that makes it super cool. We should. It's the same engine, but it's just about who can press the pedal faster, right?
Probably you, because you can reach it. I'm like
that's
barely
true.
touching that pedal.
That's true. So we wanted to show a few images that you had an opportunity to take these images. And so thank you as always, Corey. It's always a blast. We always have so much fun. And so for the viewers out there, let's go ahead and see a few of Corey's photos. Well, again, we want to thank Corey for all of the work she does to photograph these amazing babies, but more importantly, the work that she does to help celebrate. And I know she takes very special care of celebrating with the clients. And we just wanted to share one important story of one baby. And so we meet all kinds of babies out, all kinds of moms out on the sidewalk. And we also meet them inside of our coaching room. And there's many of the work that is done behind the scenes, but it's really important to share that story. And so we want to share one story for you today. Go ahead, Kai. Keisha.
I have 3 toddlers, 4, 3, and 1. I had them right out of school, out of college. I graduated, found out I was pregnant with my son. I was going through postpartum depression after I had my son, which led to a lot of turmoil within myself. Just mind you, I was really exhausted from school. I just completed school and now I'm stepping right into motherhood. And that was a big transition for me. So when I found out pregnant with my daughter, I didn't have a car then. I was still on a bus with me and Ronald. I prayed for, I asked God for transportation. I asked God for a house. I asked God for an income. So it was like the most hardest pregnancy I ever had to experience mentally and emotionally. I was even considering the fact of aborting him. Me personally, as a spiritual person, I don't believe in abortions. I just don't. But something inside of me was just like, I just can't do this. I don't want a 3rd child. I just graduated from college. I'm taking care of 2 toddlers and everything is not where I want it to be. I actually took forth the step of actually scheduling myself an appointment at Planned Parenthood because I was really just wanted to actually go through with the abortion. So, you know, there's people outside of the fence just like, hey, don't do this. Hey, don't do that. Hey, this is God's plan and stuff like that. You know, I actually got to the fence or whatever. After, you know, just pulling up, the lady was like, hey, are you here for, you know, the abortion situation? You know, God loves you. Across the street, there was a ultrasound bus. So I didn't get to go into Planned Parenthood with my appointment. I didn't get to go through with it. However, I did go across the street to this ultrasound bus. In the ultrasound bus, I was able to get a referral over to another nonprofit. One of those resources was Women's Care Connect. I got a phone call while I was at work actually, and it was Teresa, who is my advisor. And so me and Teresa actually started to build this relationship, and it actually helped me a lot because I was in a very dark place and I didn't want the baby. I think she was really supportive of me emotionally to help me not to make that decision. And so I even went as far as, you know, slamming my stomach in a doorway, going down the steps, reconsidering calling abortion people. But every time I got a thought of that, I did reach out to my advisor, and she just talked to me a lot, and it's kind of opened up to her, telling her how I felt, all the emotions I was dealing with, and just having a sense of a history of postpartum. I didn't want to experience that, and I think that was my worst fear. I said he's perfect, he was worth it, he was huge, but he was worth it. He immediately gravitated toward me because I thought he looked a lot like me. He had my fat cheeks and nose, and he was hungry, just staring at me like, and I'm just like, well, hello, nice to meet you. But from that moment on, even to now, he's a mama's boy, and I mean, he's very affectionate when it comes to me, and so we bond so well. And I didn't know what to expect, because I thank God for having him, because I didn't want to have him, and he made a big difference in my life. I was able to actually get them a 3-bedroom house. So we do have a 3-bedroom house we just moved into since December. Everything is going well. I'm working still, even with COVID. It's kind of crazy with Tyler's in the house during this situation, and he's so energized. Like now, he's so energized.
Well, we want to thank Keisha and Ryson for their time. I know that it was important to be able to spend all that time, and George here got to spend time with them. So, George, introduce yourself, and why did you just show up on camera here? Tell us about yourself.
I'm here. I'm George Kudua. I'm the videographer for Coalition for Life, and it's been really, I need to say this first, Brian, thank you for putting all of this together. I think, having a leader like you in this community helps all of us who are looking for a place to pitch in and help change the culture has really been an important thing. So thank you for the service that you've had over the years to this movement.
Thank you, George. Thank you. And so there's so many things that is going on. Obviously, you're running a webcast as well while you're here. But we've seen a couple of videos already shown inside of the webcast. But I know, and I mentioned earlier, that the popular culture uses media very, very well. And I know that you had actually done some work for the, quote, other side. And so tell me briefly about just that kind of story and what the popular culture is using and what we need to do.
Well, it's actually something that we see so often we probably forget it's there. In the commercials that we see, there's always a push. There's always a push from the other side that, maybe children are an inconvenience, or that our lives are too busy to be open to life. It's subtle, but it's around us all the time. And we soak it up, just being people, having friendships and having conversations. You feel those things and soak them up. So what we're here to do, and I'm so thankful that, you've, given the trust, but also, you see the importance of it as well, to fight against that. So we have the right ideas. We're really doing what God wants us to do here. We're just living his message. And that means as we're having these conversations, we're trying to provide these videos so that maybe if you want to open that conversation, this is a foray. This is what Mary was talking about. She's able to do this on the Maryville campus. Well, this is how we can do it outside of that campus, in our church, in our driveways, at the places where we work, or just outside the Miffids,
Absolutely. Well, and, a lot of the things we do with the Coalition for Life is on the ground. Person to person, face to face, in front of an abortion facility, on the streets, or even in that coaching room as we're talking directly with those women. So almost everything we do is face to face. And then coronavirus hit and lockdowns hit and everything else. And we went home for just a couple of weeks. And then we created the whole fund, the community fund. And we wanted to go back and do face-to-face work. But we also realized that this is now a world that we're on our cell phones and we're on our computers, and media is so critically important. They talked about just the last election and how media was able to change the entire culture and potentially could have been the one thing that swung the election one way or another. Yes. And so we realize here at the Coalition for Life that face-to-face is critically important, and we have to keep doing it. And it's the most important thing we do, with the exception of prayer.
Yes.
Right? But the next step is video. So, George, I wanted to give you the honor of announcing our next big, massive opportunity to widen our scope, to be able to share the message of hope to our culture, not just in the St. Louis region, but across the entire nation. So you get the honor of sharing our first big announcement, sir.
I appreciate that. So, cracking the proverbial bottle, launching this ship. We're going to have a video series. We've already shot 13 episodes, but they're spanning conversations between Brian and many pro-life figures in the community, but soon to be some not so pro-life figures in the community, because we want to expand these ideas. There you can see we're sitting down with Archbishop Rosansky. He's the Archbishop of the Diocese of St. Louis. We've sat down with other local faith leaders. And this is just what we need to do as a pro-life community, to hear what each other has to say and not feel isolated. Again, you're speaking about coronavirus. It's been such an isolating event for so many people that, especially folks that think like you and I do, are starting to feel alone in this. We're not able to have the March on the Arch like times past and have such a massive event. But the event that we were able to have this year was beautiful because we were able to get together. This is a way to do that virtually, but to also have those ideas. The most important thing in changing the culture is going to be these ideas. So as you're seeing these videos, I invite you to share them with family and friends. Sit down and watch them together as a family. These really are important conversations. This is how you can make sure that your children aren't going to get, taken by the culture and think that it's okay to not, give proper respect to the life that God gave us all.
Absolutely. And so I just want to share, you see some of the photographs coming through here. I just wanted to share some of the names of some of these people who are going to be joining us on this Living Pro-Life video series. And so we just mentioned Archbishop Rosansky of St. Louis has joined us. Denise Brockman, who's a volunteer sidewalk counselor. Rachel Hiley, who is our director of client services. She gets to tell that story from the client services perspective, from that time that she spends coaching these clients. Connie Eller, Connie Eller's she's been in the pro-life movement for so long. Elizabeth Hill, who's started in college and moved forward. Brad Baumgarten, who also started in college. Colin Sims, who's on our board of directors. And then also Pastor White here in Fairview Heights, and Bishop McGovern. So many different great pro-life leaders from so many different perspectives. And so we have this opportunity to sit down with them and share the message of hope.
Absolutely.
And so I'll tell you what, I'm so excited about this. I don't even know where I'm going here. But George, you have done so much through video, and you've done so much to help us move the needle on changing that culture. And I really think that this ongoing video series, Living Pro-Life video series, is going to be so important as we move forward. So thank you for your stand for life. And I know you were sitting on the other side for a little while, and you came over to the right side, the pro-life side.
Yes, you could say that. Thank you, hon. She got me over here. So.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We appreciate it. And I know you live, maybe we share just one, obviously you've been doing lots of media for us, but tell me just briefly, how do you live your daily life, obviously through video, but when you go home, when you do those little tiny things, what's one way that you could share with the audience that they could be pro-life in their daily life?
Ooh, very good question. So this is one that I'll share this. So this is something that I think other folks will be able to resonate with, because Kelly and Bella Coring were able to say this together, and you saw a sneak peek of their Living Pro-Life episode, and that is praying together as a family. It's something that, I was used to intermittently growing up, but as you can see, not having that consistently left ambiguity in my life. I wasn't sure what God was saying, so I didn't know what to follow. And I think when you want to live pro-life values, you do more or less end up following God's law, and to how to respect life that way. And so with that prayer, you get to know God, you get to fall in love with God, and then you serve God. So from a little, from that little butterfly effect of just praying together as a family, you get, titans of the pro-life movement, like I expect Bella to be, and like Kelly and yourself. So.
Thank you, George, and thank you for that word of encouragement, and thank you for your stand for life. And so the next thing we're going to talk about is our second big announcement, which has to do with 40 Days for Life. 40 Days for Life is just simply prayer and fasting, peaceful vigil, and grassroots community outreach to bring an end to abortion right here in that local community. 40 Days for Life is one of the things that we started way back in 2009, and we started with a small group at St. Ferdinand Parish, way up in North County, and St. Ferdinand Parish Pro-Life Committee, right? And so we started with a handful of people, and we grew and we grew and we grew. And so here we are now in 2021, and we have thousands of volunteers, over 12,000 volunteers who have come out to 40 Days for Life over the course of that, 10, 11, 12 years now? Wow, it's hard to count. And so one of the gentlemen who was here during our very first 40 Days for Life was Chuck Raymond. And I want to bring Chuck on the camera, if we can get him on camera here. So Chuck, we'll get you on camera here. We love this new technology, right? And so Chuck, we've got this big announcement with regards to 40 Days for Life. We have never had 2,000 volunteers outside at 40 Days for Life. And so it's always been a goal of ours to see if we could get 2,000 volunteers out there. And so we have a big announcement, and I'm kind of springing it on you.
All right, bring it on.
And so our big announcement is...
Can I say it?
You can say it,
All
yes.
Right. 2,021 volunteers. Wow.
So we're looking to have 2021 or 2021 in 2021. And the last campaign, we had about 1,600 volunteers. So we're close. We're getting there. But we wanted to make a very big stretch goal. And we are going to do that here in the fall. And not where you hope to do it, but we're going to do it. And so one of the things, the reasons why we're announcing both the Living Pro-Life video series and then also the 2021 and 2021, it's about activating people. And so 40 Days for Life has been the single greatest and most important thing of bringing people out to the sidewalks. And it changes the heart, it changes the culture. So I just brought you in. I didn't even introduce you, Chuck.
That's good. That's good.
So Chuck, we've known each other for many years.
Yes, we have.
Many years.
Since those early volunteering days.
Those early volunteers.
Yes.
Yeah. You would have, maybe you would have been on one of those photos there. But Chuck, man, you have been like a second father to me, a mentor of mine, and has really stood behind me and everything we did. You are our founding board president, and you still sit on the board of directors. And so tell us just briefly how you got involved and how you started here at the Coalition for Life.
Sure. I have to say that what my core motivation is really based on what's near and dear to my heart, and that is the fact that through God's mercy and forgiveness, my wife and I were healed from a tragic abortion decision, going back 40 something years ago when we were teenagers. Oh my gosh. That's a surprise there too. I hope that's not on the webcast.
Oh, it's there.
I'm looking at a picture of our prom. About that time, we made some poor decisions and ended up at the abortion mill. And there was nobody there praying for us. There was no sidewalk counselors. There was nothing to stop us from making it an irreversible and a tragic decision, that we regret every day. So it's a simple answer to what motivates me to be on the board. And that's it. That is being on the sidewalk and supporting this amazing organization that gets this job done. You mentioned the hit me with the 21 and 20 and 21, 2021 and 2021.
Right.
I love it. I love it. I was during the time when we were just getting started, I was also coordinator for the pro-life committee at our parish. And without exception, the ability to promote and offer 40 Days for Life was an opportunity that quadrupled, 10 times increased the amount of people that wanted to get active because they now have something to do. So if we're talking about motivating and changing the hearts of the community, that's what we do. That's what we do.
So, Chuck, you had an opportunity to see us when we were really small.
Mm-hmm.
And we were literally kind of pinching pennies. I don't know if we were rubbing them together and praying. But we started with no money.
Right.
No money in the bank account. We had just a small little idea of maybe Indian abortion in St. Louis. And we heard from Sam Lee that they did either 39 or less than 50 abortions in that St. Louis abortion facility. Isn't that fantastic?
It is.
And so we've expanded. We're over here in Fairview Heights, Illinois. And so organizationally, as we've grown, tell us where we were then, where we are now. I know we still have a lot of challenges, even though
we do.
We've gotten bigger. So
absolutely, yeah. Like you said, we were a founding board of 3 crazy guys and their families and supporters that decided to do this full time because 40 Days for Life was so successful that we were frustrated that it's 40 days and then we're done. 40 days and then we're done. And so we founded the coalition. And from the very beginning, we have grown and grown and grown, and with challenges. It's been incredible. We get no fundraising from the government. There's no professional fundraising at all. It's all just thankful donations from our core supporters. So, gosh, last year we had COVID, and that just threw everything else up into the air. We know what we went through as a culture, but here we were. Instead of our annual banquet, we did a drive-in. Very innovative. Was unbelievable that this team of great young people and creative young people put a drive-in benefit dinner together. So that was fantastic.
In the rain at that, right?
In the rain at that, and in 2 locations at that. So incredible work that these folks do here. Now, meanwhile, during COVID, we have women that are, more of them, finding themselves pregnant, scared to death, and fearful. So we found ourselves with a much higher number of high-risk clients coming in. And so while the rest of the country was fighting with the pandemic and shutting things down, we were actually expanding our services and responding to the need. Even this mushroom cloud of Fairview Heights Planned Parenthood, our response was, we have to be there. And so we were.
So I know financially it's put us in a much different spot than we were back in 2011. We've done so many massive projects just in the last 2 years, right? We're sitting here now in the beautiful pro-life community center here in Fairview Heights, Illinois, and it was just a shell, right?
We had board meetings, right?
We had a board meeting, right? I know. We sat in this ugly spot and we said, guys, I've got this vision of what we can do with this space. We had a volunteer who drew up architectural plans. We had volunteers, staff, and everyone pulled together to make this possible in just a couple of months. And God provided just a 1-week time frame that we were able to negotiate a lease and secure the space. That secures the mobile center right across the street, right next to Planned Parenthood. And then on top of that, we were already launching the ultrasound program, and then COVID hit. And I mean, there's so many things all on top of each other, but we survived, and we thrived. So tell us about financially where we are right now, because obviously the money is required. It's not where our focus is, but tell us about where we are now.
Yeah, obviously with all these spectacular things that we're doing, you've seen and heard about them tonight, and you know about them. We have not done any fundraising at all this year. So it's time. This is a very important segment of our webcast tonight, and that's another big announcement. And that is very simply that we are offering tonight a huge all or nothing match. We have 23 generous donors that have put up $185,200. All or nothing. You've heard of matching challenges before, where you make a contribution and it's going to be matched, right? Well, this is a little different than that, right?
Yeah.
This is bold. Brian is up to it, and we can, and you can do it. But we are offering a $185,200 match, all or nothing, for all money raised, all of your donations in the next 8 days. So the first way to do that is going to be with a single gift appeal. Very simply, your single gift today will allow us to continue to do all this life-saving work. We're going to literally continue to save babies, turn them from making, terrible decisions, save mothers from a lifetime of heartbreak, continue to fund those ultrasounds, fund our full-time counselors and our sidewalk counselors. One of the women that has chosen life is we're about to meet her now and see a video of a very important birthday.
Carter. I know he's gonna be great. He's already a great current free spirit. Carter is a free spirit. Carter, you know I love you. You say, I love you, son. I love you so much, more than the stars in the sky. Well, I can't be here always and forever, but as long as I'm on this earth, I'll do any and everything for you to make sure that you're okay. I want the best for you. I want you to be everything that you want to be, son. You're going to be great. You're going to be smart. You're going to be loving. You're going to be fearless. You're going to be strong. Right now, you're going to be my little prince, but someday, you're going to be somebody king. You are a king. You hear me, son? You hear me?
Okay, so thank you, Carter. Thank you, Carter's mom, so much for choosing life. Carter is here because of the generous and caring donors that we've had going back 2 years ago. Carter's 2 years old today. So donors 2 years, 3 years ago made his life possible through their generous donations, giving his mother the courage to choose life. You have to realize that fully 95% of the energy of this coalition goes into our mission. And so we're very efficient with the funding and the finances that we have. But the reality is that we are funding 2 offices. We have the office in St. Louis, the Women's Care Connect, and the ultrasound capabilities, and here in Fairview Heights. So there's lots of expenses to maintain those 2 sites, leases, utilities, staffing, and so forth. So want to, again, thank you all for being with us, and call your hearts and minds back to this single pledge today. And let's just pause in prayer and pray together about that single gift. Lord, we thank you for the precious gift of our lives. We ask you to be with us this evening. We ask you to open and touch our hearts. Guide us in seeking your will. As we consider our single gift that could help make all of these precious lives happen and these women be saved. We thank you, Lord, for all the good things that you continue to give us. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Well, Chuck, I'm actually going to take, I'm going to share my screen for just a moment.
Okay.
Hopefully that works great here. Thank you for praying for us and sharing with us that great opportunity. So if you're on the webcast, if you're seeing my face right here on this screen, on the left-hand side, there's a link for a single gift. Go ahead and click that single gift icon or button there, so you'll see our twins here. Select one of the pre-selected items or click other, and go ahead and if you click other, select that other gift there. Leave us a note. We read these notes, and so if you have a note for us, you want to dedicate that to a loved one, a memory or honor of someone, please do that there. And obviously fill in the normal information, name, email, phone number, and then also checking, savings, or credit card. Please select those. Checkings and savings account. It's a little cheaper to get it over to us than a credit card, but pick any of those. And then go ahead and say that you're not a robot, and then donate down there at the bottom. And then there's also an alternative if you guys prefer PayPal. We do take PayPal, so go ahead and click that link down below, and then you can enter your information there and then move forward with either a PayPal payment or a credit or debit card there. So wanted to thank you, Chuck, for talking about one-time gifts here today. And I also wanted to thank already we have Cheryl, who is giving today. We want to thank Cheryl, Nick, as well as Amanda. So thank you to those donors who are already given today. So thank you to them. And Chuck, I think there's a second way that we can get involved and be involved.
There is, Brian.
Yes.
And I keep the suspense. I want you to mention just a little thing about a 70% tax credit.
Oh, yes. Yes. Okay, so this is incredible.
Yes.
This is one of the
For all of
most
you
amazing
Missouri
things.
residents.
Right. So if you pay Missouri taxes in any way, whether you work in Missouri, you live in Missouri, or somehow own a business in Missouri, there's this huge opportunity. And we don't want to pass this up. You can make a $1,000 donation out of pocket for only $141. Now, how do you do that? Right? So the tax credit is 70%, and these are unlimited tax credits. There used to be a pool that you have to pull from, and you might get picked, or you might not get picked for the tax credit, but now these are unlimited. So they're offered if you make a charitable donation to a Missouri pregnancy center, which Coalition for Life is a Missouri pregnancy center, you'll get a 70% tax credit. That's $700 on $1,000. And then you have your additional deductions, which then would reduce it down to $141 out of pocket.
Yeah.
And
that's incredible.
Imagine what you could do with $10,000 or $50,000, right? And so this really maximizes on your dollars and can really make a big difference in the way that you can donate. And so I actually, if you look at your 1040, I always tell people, look at line number 32 on their Missouri 1040, line 32, you would know maybe.
Sure.
But that's the amount of taxes you paid last year. And so take that dollar amount times 1.3 and donate it to a local pregnancy center. We're hoping that you would do it to the Coalition for Life and support our Women's Care Connect program. But donate it to a local Missouri pregnancy center and wipe out that tax, and instead give it to the women and children and the ministries are working so diligently to save lives in Missouri. So that's a 70% tax credit, which is huge.
It is huge. And every dollar you contribute is going to be matched.
Yeah.
So $185,200 match, all or nothing.
And that's by May 7th, midnight on May 7th. 8 days.
8 days.
And we must hit it, otherwise we'll lose all of it.
Yes.
And so, again, 23 local donors who pulled that together to make that happen. So we really
And
appreciate
I do believe that these donors want to make that contribution.
I think
it
so.
will not happen if we don't reach the matching goal. So let me tell you about the second way that we can make an appeal tonight. And that's with our monthly donations. Second opportunity is simply to make a monthly gift and set up a systematic once a month times 12. All of that counts towards the match. Your gift would allow us to continue all of the great things that we're doing. That fully, like I said, 95% of all the funds come in go directly to supporting our mission. All right, so sidewalk counselors, pregnancy tests, the office spaces, all of our staff, the March on the Arch. I mean, you name it. It's incredible. All the things that are going on here that you can help support with now a monthly contribution. So let's pray briefly for our viewers and those that are watching this webcast later, that God would put into your heart what His will is, that we will pause, think, ponder about how we can use the treasures that God has given us to help fund this mission, and see further videos of beautiful young boys like Carter, who are alive today because of the work God has done through the coalition. So Lord, please be with us, put it in our hearts, help us as we consider a monthly donation at this particular time. Amen.
Amen. Amen. And I just want to share a few more people who were giving tonight. Victoria, I want to thank Victoria. Kathleen, thank you, Kathleen. Edward. We also want to thank Chris and Amanda. We've got Doug here giving. Thank you, Doug, and Janice, and Teresa, and David, and these just keep on coming in. Carrie, Paula, Kathleen, Zoe. Wow, Reagan,
Edmund.
Oh my gosh! Oh my goodness!
Thank you.
Thank you. So how do you make a monthly gift tonight? I just want to briefly share with you how to do that. And we're asking you to consider both a single gift and a monthly gift tonight, not one or another. I know a lot of our donors will give a big gift during our matching challenge, but then they'll also continue to give a monthly gift. Again, the monthly gift will be doubled times 12. And then if you're using the tax credits, it's just keeps on going from there. So you can make a huge, huge impact with both a single gift and a monthly gift. So down here, you've got the monthly gift. Go ahead and click that on the bottom right-hand side. You can pick one of the pre-selected ones or click other there. And then go ahead and leave a note for us. We always love either prayer requests or some encouraging words on those. Pick a checking, savings, or credit card. Again, tell us you're not a robot, and then move on and donate there. And then back on the PayPal link, you could also, if you'd like to give a monthly PayPal link, you can check that box there and let us know that you want that to be a monthly gift. If you would prefer to send a check, remember it has to be postmarked by May 7th, right? Yep. May 7th has to be postmarked to count towards the match. It's critically important that it's postmarked and arrives. Well, it doesn't have to arrive on May 7th, but it has to be postmarked to count towards the $185,200 matching challenge. 23 of the most amazing, generous people I could ever think of. I know the Guth Foundation put up the first 25,000, and some very, very generous people, most of which are leveraging the 70% tax credit so that they can make an even larger and larger gift. It's really important for us to recognize how powerful those tax credits are. And so as we finish up today, I just want to thank all of you, each and every single one of you here who are on the webcast tonight or listening to the recording afterwards, watching this webcast. We want to thank you. You make this possible. we wouldn't do what we do every single day if it wasn't for the support of every single one of you. It matters. It really, really matters. When I first went out to the sidewalk and I experienced what it means to be pro-life, I kind of lived a pro-life lifestyle here or there, but it was really my wife. I mean, George shared that, Elizabeth kind of pulled him in. We love our wives, and they pull us in and they say, you can do this. And she drugged me out to that abortion facility and said, we're going to go to where abortion happens. Abortion doesn't happen in the White House or the Supreme Court building or the state capitals or anywhere. It happens here at home, right here. Right here at home, right down the street, right in our neighborhoods. And we go out to where abortions happen. This morning I drove by the abortion facility here in Fairview Heights, Illinois, and there were no cars in that parking lot. But then as I continued to look out the window, I saw car after car, most of which came from Missouri here to Fairview Heights to take the lives of their little children. And we're not okay with that. And we're out there, and we had opportunities to have turnarounds this morning and an opportunity to help women choose life. And you made that possible. I couldn't do what I do, and our team couldn't do what they do without you. And we want to thank you. And so please consider a single gift tonight and a monthly gift of ongoing support. And if you're in Missouri, leverage that tax credit. That's so important that you can leverage that tax credit. And if you have any questions about that, just call our office. We'll answer all of your questions. We love our tax credits. But obviously, credit card check, those we can take stock, those kind of things. But thank you, because you make this possible. Thank our staff, George, Colleen, Chuck. Well, there's a room full of people. I can't thank all of them all at the exact same time. But finally, we want to thank the courageous clients. Those women who choose life, who had an opportunity, they stopped for someone, they clicked on an advertisement, they came in, and they could have easily chosen abortion, but they didn't. And those women are the ones that we cherish and we celebrate today. Because we know that during this Living Pro-Life webcast, every single one of us have opportunities. We pray, we fast, we go out to the abortion facilities, we support our local pregnancy center, but really it's the mother who's living pro-life. It's that mother who's choosing life. And we want to celebrate with her and celebrate with her every single day. And so tonight we ask you, we have 8 days to raise $185,200. And yeah, that's a big number. We know it. It's a big number. But we can do this together. And we can push forward till one day there will be no more abortions in our town, no more abortions in our nation. And once again, we will be a nation of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And God will be in every single thing that we do. But we must start with abortion, and we must protect life. Thank you as always. And we will hit this match on Friday, May 7th, $185,200. We will do it together. God bless, and thank you.